Right, ebusan for mu bibia kwaba famra 2K ni semblo so e wo YouTube so say ebusan aba ensem ahodo a ekoso e Ghana say na de beso ahefo nyina me ka say de tinyina say info bi adrop ya ni nyina afa Levy ahodo a ekoso e wo man Ghana mu ha say no mensa aka update bia no ba beso mo message sans na be consem so ubu eni ani die kwa so say wonya subscribe fama YouTube channel ya na don say subscribe button so we are now the bell notification icon so to say be next time bia no me drop video e wo channel so an say be ka video ni bi ententem ebuso de tin nyina say ye nyina ni twia ebre bi atwam no NPP for ekofa Levy bi ba ya na efen say Levy san so na e betting tax ne nyina na chese Ghana for ebo enyo so kura no mo kasa bebre na ne ehwese de ne titi say ska ne so a wo de compare eye me no kase no NDC for so e Levy omodi aba parliament minority na atuni din say dumsor Levy na wutimi say dumsor Levy no sika abai ne ba be Jeffrey Ghana for ho no ano de ne pay na empen for anka so mo parliament no mo ko mo twetwe bu ha se am ba be so mo e wo channel se enko ne enko video ni bi emfamra medin erekwam gentle.
You came here to present your budget. You presented your budget saying you are not going to introduce new taxes, new levies. Then you turn around, you say you are repealing e-levy. You are all over the place. Now you are bringing back e-levy. And then you say that the Ghanaian public will not feel it. Mr. Speaker, you repeal e-levy, reintroduce e-levy.
The energy sector's financial woes are significant, with a total of $3.7 billion needed to clear the debt and an additional $1.2 billion required for fuel to power thermal plants throughout 2025. Economist and professor of finance at the University of Ghana, Godfred Bokwin, has backed the One Ghana cedis levy.
Once the strengthening of the currency is not based on transformation of the economy, from structural transformation and productivity transformation, you always have to be very careful how the future looks like. Under the circumstance, I have a soft side towards this imposition, largely also because of the gains that have been conferred, especially in the export pricing formula, given the strengthening of the local currency.
Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boachi, believes the One Ghana cedis levy on petroleum products is not an effective way to address Ghana's energy problems.
We all know the problems in the energy sector but I'm not sure the one cedi imposition on the consumer at this point really is an effective way of addressing the problem.
Energy Minister John Mahama reiterated the government's commitment to maintaining stability in the electricity supply, adding that the levy will support the long-term health of the sector.
Governance is a balancing act, and that is why we are appealing to Ghanaians that will give you a reduction already from the 16 to about 13, which is about 3 cedi reduction, so that at 13 or 12, we can also use 1 cedi to sustain electricity for productivity. Whilst we take steps to increase gas consumption, reduce the losses, bring about efficiency. And already we are putting in place mechanisms that showing that in the electricity sector we are seeing some positive results.
While government claims the cedi strength will shield consumers, the new levy is expected to have a significant impact on Ghanaians, particularly those already struggling with the economic situation.
Well, let's take you to Kumasi because the reaction hasn't been different on the street. Erabna Akwe has been engaging commuters.
The time we are reducing the fare, I think the fuel has been reduced to only 4%, but they force us to reduce our fare to 15%. And now you are going to add another 1 cedi to it. It means it's not good for the drivers.
We the drivers thank the government for not helping us. You made us reduce the fare knowing there is debt. Why didn't you take care of that first?
If the government is going to use the tax judiciously to develop the nation, to invest in other sectors of the nation, no problem. But you know, Ghana here, our leaders are baying to the economy. So if the government in power is going to make good use of the tax, the 1 cedi energy levy that is going to impose, then I think it's a step in the right direction.
Why isn't that you knew you would add 1 cedi, but you made us reduce our fares? Will they make us increase the fares again? I don't agree with the government.
And for me, it's good because they help us, because we have a lot of problems. So if the drivers accept it, they will help all.
NDC, NPP,
the NPP frequently increase diesel, but the NDC has increased diesel about 3 times. So if he will add 1 cedi to a litre, we don't have a problem. I can say the government came to destroy drivers' business. They are intimidating us to stop the work. We'll also increase the fare by force.
As Parliament continue to deliberate the bill, citizens remain divided on whether the move is necessary or just another burden. The coming days will determine how government addresses the growing public concern. Reporting for Joy News, Erabna Akwe, Kumasi.
Now we can hear from former Vice President Dr. Asu Bawumia, who slammed the NDC government for introducing what he called a new dumsor levy, just months after scraping the e-levy they fiercely opposed. Now he was speaking in Cape Coast during the final leg of his thank you tour.
NDC for omuchan trobebre every day obiehu ejintra omuchan enra najo sembo nyina mo omudi dumsor levy aba dumsor levy so first no mo say e-levy na yedi aba omubeyi e-levy no omubeyi ene omudi dumsor levy aba. It is 8 times the e-levy. Omo ansusu anye and then uto 1 liter of petrol 1 cedi na ubetua. Uto 1,000 cedis of petrol ubetua 83 cedis. 83 cedis as tax. E-levy no usende obi 1,000 momoa ubetua 10 cedis. Omu and then umbetua for 1,000 ubetua 83 cedis for fuel. We nimina more beba. By the time yebedu 2028 no Ghana nyina be hu se umutwa antro bebre mimi gidi se umubeka nkyere yen se yensan ba biom embafa aban no ensiesie Ghana.
Well, in the last couple of hours, President John Mahama has been justifying the need for the new petroleum levy. He described the decision as a difficult but necessary step to stabilize the economy. The president was speaking at the Jubilee House during the presentation of the final report of the 2025 National Economic Dialogue.
While initially much of this revenue will go into the purchase of fuel to ensure stable supply of electricity, with the ongoing developments in the upstream sector, we expect to receive more gas from our E&I Sankofa and Jubilee and 10 fields. With also the assurance of additional gas through the West African gas pipeline, we expect to substantially reduce the use of liquid fuels in our energy mix. At that stage, the resources generated by this increased levy will be channeled to pay down accumulated legacy debts in the power sector. With the recent gains in macro stability and strengthening of the Ghanaian cedi, this levy is not expected to result in any immediate fuel price increases at the pump. We are fully aware of the burden this will place on households and businesses, but I want to assure Ghanaians that this decision was not taken lightly. Furthermore, the government will continue working to reduce systemic inefficiencies in the energy procurement and distribution sectors, while enhancing targeted social interventions for vulnerable groups.
Now let's get more understanding of this new levy, and lead data analyst Kofi Ajay joins us in the studio with those details. Kofi, you're welcome. Now, help us understand whether this was captured in the budget.
The
is that this was actually in the budget, but not explicit. But we understand from the budget that the finance minister requested that Parliament allows him to make some amendment to 10 different acts. And amongst those acts was the Energy Sector Levy Act of 2015, which has allowed the finance minister to impose that additional 1 cedi on the price or the tax that we pay on the export price of fuel. Now, I mean, maybe the answer is, I mean, the question is that the explicit amount or the direct amount of 1 cedi was not quoted in the budget, but we can confirm that, you know, the request to, you know, amend ESLA was actually captured in the 2025 budget. But the big surprise is that nobody actually expected that, I mean, there will be an additional 1 cedi on the export price of fuel currently.
Now, Kofi, I mean, from what we do know, if you look at this particular levy, we also know there was ESLA. How much did the ESLA accrue, and what has been the usage?
Well, so ESLA is actually the special purpose vehicle which was supposed to rescue Ghana's energy sector, introduced somewhere 2015-2016. And per the data we are checking, in terms of the inflow since 2016, that's in excess of 30 billion Ghana cedis since 2016. And we've also been looking through the 2024 ESLA report, and that gives us some latest data in terms of the utilization of the fund. So could you have the data in my hands right now? ESLA for 2024, amount collected was somewhere around 8.6, 7 billion Ghana cedis, and amount lodged into the different accounts for different purposes was around 6 or 8.1 billion, Ghana cedis. But if you look at the total amount that was